Hi, and welcome to this Introduction to German Literature course. My name is Emily Goodling, and I will be your instructor for the next few weeks. In this video, I wanted to take a bit of time to walk you through both the syllabus and the way that the course is structured. That's also why I'm speaking in English, because I want to make sure that we're all on the same page before we switch to German and dive into the material. Let's start on the home page, which is where I am right now. As you can see, there's a bit of information here about where you can find certain things. The most important thing, as you can see, is modules. Modules will be where you will find all of the information about what you need to do every day, basically sort of in tabular form. You will also see that down here, there's sort of a list of instructions divided by day, but you should really get in the habit of checking out modules every day to see what you need to do there. There's also a link here to the syllabus, Georgia Tech Honor Code, etc. Let's check out modules briefly. So here we have wichtige Dokumente. You should be very familiar with these top two items here by the time this course starts. We also have Anmeldungen for the presentations. I'll be talking about that a bit later on. Scrolling down, this will be a link to the video which I'm recording right now, a little bit more about myself and your first activity, which will be to introduce yourselves to the group. And from there, we dive right into the weeks. So Woche 1, Franz Kafka. You can see here our daily assignments. Let me now go over to the syllabus. Scroll up, good. I'll now take a time, this is what I would do in a live classroom setting, to just kind of walk through everything, and feel free afterwards to get in touch with me if you have any questions or concerns about anything that I am covering right now. As you can see, the course title is Deutsche Literatur im 20. und 21. Jahrhundert. In this course, we will be reading and discussing masterpieces of 20th and 21st century German literature. However, I don't want this to just be a reading course where we read a bunch of text, but rather I also want to look at the literature in the context in which it was created, so social, cultural, historical contexts. That means that we will also be looking at the occasional political document. We'll also be talking a lot about, again, the sort of broader questions that informed the creation of this body of literature. And we'll also be looking at different types of media, so painting as well as the occasional film, etc. This course is a very intensive course. It is a very immersive course in which you will be spending several hours a day engaging with German language literature. I know also that for many of you, this may be the first time that you have taken a course in German literature. And depending on what you study, maybe the first time in college that you've taken a literature class at all. Especially linguistically, so sort of linguistically speaking, there will be a very steep learning curve to make that jump from kind of learning German as a language and the grammar and things like that to reading literature. This is fine. This is to be expected. Try to work through whatever feelings of kind of frustration come up and move forward. You should see your vocabulary and your reading abilities improve enormously over the extent of these next few weeks, and that is kind of my goal here. When it comes to the readings, just do the best you can. The goal here is not to understand every single word and every single sentence as well as its grammatical function, but rather to understand what the text is trying to do. What is this text telling us? What is kind of the broader overall sense of this work? What questions is it asking? Why is it interesting? What's the literary style doing? Those sort of questions are much more important. Course goals. In completing this course, like I said, you should come away with an understanding of key historical moments and artistic movements within the German-speaking world in the 20th and into the 21st century. emphasis will be placed on moving you into increasingly complex and extended modes of discourse, so not just speaking in short sentences, but actually speaking in paragraphs, while at the same time developing skills of close reading and literary analysis. Depending on your needs, etc., I will also be doing a bit of work with grammar and structure, depending on how things progress. This paragraph right here is very important. This course is intended to serve the students enrolled in it, and I also recognize that many of you will have very different levels of German coming into it. That is fine, and that is to be expected. I think the course can sort of encompass a broader sort of scope of student abilities. However, please do not hesitate to contact me if you feel like this is the wrong course for you, if it's too advanced or even too easy, if you'd like to do more, or if it greatly, again, falls or exceeds your language level. This is also only the second time that I am teaching this course. I developed it last year and am now going to teach it again. I have learned and incorporated some things based on student feedback last year, and I'm very much looking forward to doing that this year as well. So please get in touch with me if something doesn't seem to be working for you, and we will find a solution together. Another thing which I will also say is that this is a very, very large course. At the moment, I have almost 20 students enrolled. That is due to the current global pandemic situation. A lot more students are thinking about taking online classes, and also the fact that Georgia Tech has upped the maximum number of students in these courses to accommodate greater desire for such things. That means that if you feel like you're not getting enough direct interaction with me or direct feedback on your assignments, please get in touch with me. I have office hours on demand, and I am more than happy to just spend an hour chatting with you in German, speaking about the literature, looking at your assignments, etc. So again, please kind of keep an open dialogue with me as your instructor as we navigate both this unprecedented global situation and this kind of new format of teaching and reading literature online. Okay, moving on. I think you can read through these goals yourself. This is what you should ideally come away from the course being able to do. Okay, now we come to the course structure. It's obviously kind of the heart of this video and the course itself. This course takes place on Canvas. You will not be using another platform. There is no online textbook, as you might already be familiar from other language courses, but rather everything that you need you can find on Canvas. It features both synchronous, so live, real-time, and asynchronous, self-paced, such as this video, elements that you can then watch on your own time. Again, your daily calendar can be found under modules. Usually you'll have some sort of reading or listening or watching assignment followed by some sort of interactive response, and that can take the form of a forum post or a voice thread where you'll actually speak with your classmates, to various number of other types of online activities. Most of those assignments are already set in stone, but I will be changing them to react to how the course is going and your needs and how things seem to be progressing. So please check modules as regularly as you can. Text specifications. I think you all are probably have had much more of a trial by fire period in this than my students last year, simply because most of you have been taking online classes right now by necessity for quite a bit. You should have a basic working microphone and camera. Doesn't need to be anything fancy. There will be one live classroom session per week, and that will take place on BlueJeans. You can find the link for that on Canvas as well. It will take place every Friday from 12 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Your attendance is highly encouraged, as this is a chance for you to interact and speak about literature with me, with your classmates. we will basically be kind of summing up the week and really getting into the texts in more detail than you're able to do on your own on Canvas during the week. However, I realize that time zones may not line up, summer obligations may not line up, technological issues may happen. Therefore, I will be posting the recording of each session on Canvas after it happens, and you will be able to catch up by viewing it. You will then complete, in place of your participation during the live session, you will then complete a brief audio assignment in response to what you have seen on the recording. One word about tech related to my technological situation. As many of you, as is the case for many of you, my year looks very different than I had originally intended it to do. I was supposed to be in a different country doing research for my dissertation. I am currently in quarantine in Paris in a flat that has very poor internet. I, as I'm sure you all know, do not have access to an office or a university library. I will do the best that I can with the internet connection that I have, and you may need to be a bit patient with me during our online sessions. But we're going to figure it out, and if it turns out that it's not working at all, we will have a plan B. But for now, the plan is to have these live sessions where as many of you as possible come together and we discuss the literature. Office hours, I'm happy to meet with you at any time to talk about anything. Please just drop me an email. We can, again, work on technological issues or grammar issues or philosophical issues, whatever seems to you to be the most helpful thing. Let's look at course assignments. Your work on Canvas and your participation will be the huge majority of your grade for this course. Again, you're responsible for completing all of the daily readings and assignments on Canvas, posted under modules, on the day that they are due. I will be a bit lenient with when exactly you turn them in, but again, please try your absolute best to not get behind in turning in those assignments. This is a very short course. It is a very intense course, and I think, again, it's a manageable amount of work, but getting behind and not turning things in on a regular basis will make that work feel much less manageable than it indeed is. 10% of your grade comes from quizzes. You'll complete a brief quiz at the end of each week. They are open book and open notes, intended to be an opportunity for a self-assessment and reflection as opposed to some sort of exam that you have to study for. Sort of summary of the main concepts that we're hoping to take away from a particular week. Mini presentations. You will each sign up for a short presentation, and I mean short, we're talking 5 to 7 minutes, on topics that are assigned by me. I should actually move this. Because of the number of students, it's unlikely that you will be working in pairs. You will most likely be working alone, and you will deliver these presentations during our live classroom meetings on Fridays. If you cannot attend the live classroom meeting, what you will do is upload the presentation to Canvas, and we will all watch that together in class, those of us that are in class anyway. Midterm essay, 15%. Students will complete a midterm essay by the end of the third week. This essay will be 2 to 3 pages long, etc. I will be giving more information about that as the time draws near, so don't worry about that yet. Same with the final project. One thing that I have sort of built into this final project is the opportunity for you to take it in a direction that best reflects your goals when it comes to being in this class and learning German. If you want to really delve into grammar and written communication, you can turn it in as an essay. If you would rather work on speaking and oral communication, you can turn it in as a 10 to 15 minute in-depth presentation. Final projects are due on June 18th. And again, I will post more information about that as the time draws near. Other information, you probably know a lot of this from being Georgia Tech students, and if you have any sort of needs, special needs that are not being met by this class, especially as relates to the current global situation, please get in touch with the people at Georgia Tech in the Office of Disability Services, and they will be more than happy to work with you. A brief necessary note on plagiarism. Basically, don't plagiarize. Do not write your essay on Google Translate. I can tell if you do that. I have taught enough language classes to know what that looks like. I welcome collaboration if you want to, again, work on a presentation together, or even kind of get together and discuss, you know, the quiz questions, or what, you know, whatever is helpful in terms of discussion and collaboration. But having someone else write your essay for you is obviously cheating, and as is the case for basically all other universities, is considered to be in violation of the honor code. Errors and mistakes, this kind of goes back to what I was saying about the fact that I know that for a lot of you, this is your first time taking a German literature course. I hope to foster an environment where mistakes will be treated respectfully, and you should feel free to take linguistic risks and philosophical risks in thinking about this material. One thing that I also want to say is that the forum posts that you'll be writing, they are an opportunity for you to practice kind of more informal speaking. And in that sense, I will not be grading those on your grammatical perfection, but rather, you know, did you write something that we can understand? You know, are you using the grammar in a functional way that makes sense? And of course, then the content, you know, what are you trying to communicate about the literature that we're reading? All right, very, very brief overview of the syllabus here. This is a very sort of bare bones syllabus, and more information can be found obviously under modules. Week 1, we'll be talking about Franz Kafka, as well as kind of getting an introduction to kind of some broader topics and ideas that may come up as we work through this course in terms of what's happening in the 20th century. Week 2, Reaktionen auf die Moderne. We'll be working with two of my favorite literary movements, Expressionism and Dada. Very different from Kafka's world in terms of style and mood, but also very, very fun material here. We'll be looking at some poems, a movie, paintings, and then a very exciting manifesto. Week 3, Kunst in der Krise vor und nach dem Zweiten Weltkrieg. Again, you know, we cannot look at German literature without looking at how this literature reacts to World War II. There we're going to be looking at Bertolt Brecht and Paul Celan, two very important figures that lived through that period. Week 4, we kind of go in two different directions here. We're going to be looking at both Austria and kind of the Austrian response to World War II, as well as the DDR, so East German literature. Here again, we have a film, we have part of a play, we have a selection from a novel, etc. Week 5, Frauen- und Minoritätenliteratur. In this week, I wanted to look at a few voices that have been traditionally excluded from the sort of German canon as it is traditionally conceived of, namely women and also literature by minorities. Along those lines, I have this short story by Özdemir, Schwarze Auge in Deutschland, and also a sort of essay story by Joko Tavada. Then we'll also look at selections from a phenomenal play by Elfriede Jelinek, one of my favorites, Die Schutzbefohlenen, which is about the current refugee crisis, or past and current refugee crisis in Europe. And that's basically it. Then you will turn in your final project, and that will be the end of the course. Again, please let me know if you have any questions about any of this. Otherwise, I am very much looking forward to seeing you virtually and on video, etc., in this class. And yeah, enjoy.